Welcome to Guide Mia. Today we're going to talk about creating a case straight from a folder in your Cympha cloud. If a patient's files, scans, his CBCT, photos, and existing plan are already sitting in a cloud folder, you shouldn't have to upload them a second time just to open a case. This flow starts the case form preceded from the folder, attaches every file automatically, and leaves you with only the clinical form to fill in. By the end you'll know how to launch it, what carries over, what you still fill in by hand, and how to confirm the files actually arrived on the case. Follow along on screen, or listen now and read the written guide later. Why does this flow exist when there's a perfectly good new case form with an upload box? 3 reasons. First, the files are already in Cympha storage, pushing them from your cloud to a case moves no bytes from your laptop, which matters on clinic networks and matters a lot for cases with many files. Second, it changes when you organize. You can build a clean folder per patient at your leisure, days before any case exists, and the case step becomes trivial. Third, you might not be the one who put the files there, the desktop agent, or a colleague, may have staged them into your cloud for you. In that world, case creation is purely the clinical form. The file handling already happened. 3 things before you click anything. First, the folder itself, in your cloud, containing the files for this case. If it isn't organized yet, the file management lecture shows you how. Second, make sure the folder holds what the case category will ask for. An AlignerBot case needs scans, an implant case needs a CBCT plus optical scans, an ortho case wants scans and ideally photos. You don't have to memorize this, the case form surfaces a checklist once you pick the category. Third, have a clear idea of what you're submitting, ortho, AlignerBot, implant, or one of your lab's custom services. You can change category mid-form, and the file checklist updates with it, but walking in decided keeps the form quick. Step 1 sounds trivial and hides the single most common stumble. Sign in, open My Cloud, and find the folder you want to use. Here's the stumble: you do not open the folder to start a case. The action lives in the folder's row menu, which means you need to be looking at the folder from outside, in its parent view, not browsing around inside it. If you're inside the folder admiring your well-named files, back up one level using the breadcrumb until the folder itself appears as a row in the list. That row, with its yellow icon and its 3-dot menu on the right, is your launch point. Step 2 is one click. On the folder's row, open the 3-dot More Actions menu. Alongside Rename and Delete you'll find the option you're here for, Create Case from Folder. Click it, and the app navigates to the new case page, the exact same page you'd reach starting a case manually, but with one difference: the folder reference travels along with the navigation. Nothing has been created yet at this point. No case exists, no files have moved. You've simply opened the form with a note attached that says, when this case is submitted, bring the contents of that folder with it. Which brings us to how you verify that note actually made it. At the top of the form, look for a blue banner. Its title reads, Files from My Cloud folder will be imported, and the subtitle names the folder, the leaf name only, the last segment of the path, not the full breadcrumb. That banner is your proof the folder reference survived the navigation. If it isn't there, stop and go back, the import won't happen, and we'll cover that in troubleshooting. When the case is eventually submitted, the folder's files are attached to the case, and the case's own copy is what the lab works from. After submission, check your folder in My Cloud to see what remains, and remember, files in My Cloud are kept for 7 days regardless, so your original should always live on your own computer. Below the banner sits the normal new case form, and you fill it exactly as if you'd started from scratch. For a lab service case, find your lab by searching by lab name or by the lab manager's name or email. The search wants at least 2 characters before it looks. Note there is no public directory of labs to browse. Cympha expects you to have connected with your lab in the real world first, then you find them here by name. Then the category, ortho, AlignerBot, implant, or a specific lab service the chosen lab offers. The category decides which parameter form appears underneath and which file checklist applies. And the folder import doesn't constrain your choice. If the folder has a CBCT and you pick ortho, that's fine, the file still attaches, the ortho parameters just don't reference it. Here's the form you're filling in, and the point to notice is that it's the same new case form every path leads to. The folder import just spares you the upload step. The patient block at the top, name, gender, date of birth, complaints, expected date, is required on every category, but only the patient name is hard validated. Everything else is optional, so a minimal case needs a single field. Still, fill in what the lab will actually use. The complaints and the expected date are what a busy lab manager reads first. Then comes the clinical block, and that one changes shape entirely depending on the category, which is worth a slide of its own. The clinical block depends on category. Ortho asks for arch selection, extractions, fixed teeth, the angle classification, and your desired midline, overjet, and overbite, plus a scan checklist covering intraoral, optical, CT, bite, facial, and flat photos. AlignerBot asks for upper and lower jaw plan ranges, extraction selections in FDI notation, IPR allowance, expansion, and related planning limits. Implant wants a case overview, the implant brand, the drilling kit, the sleeve type, the planned implant tooth numbers, and its own scan checklist. And a lab service shows whatever fields your lab has configured in the service template. Every lab's form is its own. The parameter forms have dedicated guides for the AlignerBot and non-AlignerBot flows. The only thing different here is the upload step you skipped. Everything filled in? Click Create Case at the bottom. 3 things happen behind the scenes, in order. The case is created in submitted status with the parameters you entered, and it lands with the lab manager. The cloud folders files are attached to the case. And your browser navigates to the new case's detail page. Now do the one verification that matters. Scroll to the case's files section and confirm every file from your cloud folder is listed there, ready for the lab or the AI category to start processing. This is your moment to catch a missing file. Comparing the case against your folder takes 10 seconds now and saves a round of confusion later. If something you expected didn't arrive, hold that thought, it's coming up in troubleshooting. From here the case follows its category. The native AI categories Ortho, AlignerBot, Implant run their own workflows, each covered elsewhere in this series. One forward pointer worth knowing: if you later want tooth level changes on an AlignerBot case, you can export an XML tooth position file from Cympha Studio's review workspace, right in the browser, or upload a transfer pack saved from the desktop planner. Lab service cases land with the chosen lab's manager, who holds the case from submitted and assigns a designer. From there it's the normal case lifecycle. Back in your cloud, check the source folder after submission. Every other folder is untouched. And the new case shows up in 2 places: the recent cases section under My Cases on the cloud page, and the full cases list. 5 snags, 5 fixes. If you clicked Create Case from folder and nothing seemed to happen, especially if you were already on the new case page, scroll to the top. The action navigates to the new case form, so if you were already looking at one, the navigation can feel completely silent. If the blue banner is there, all is well. If it's not, the folder reference didn't make it, go back to My Cloud and use the menu action again. If the banner shows a name you don't trust, remember it only shows the leaf, the last segment after the final slash, so 2 folders called Smith under different parents look identical here. The banner genuinely can't tell them apart. Confirm the right files attached after creation. If some files didn't attach, remember the import covers the folder's contents at submit time, so a file you dropped into the source folder while the form was still open should in fact be picked up, since the import reads the folder's state at submit, not at open. Even so, the cleanest workflow is organize first, then submit, and compare the case's file section against the folder afterwards. If you submitted under the wrong category, cancel the case from its detail page using cancel case, then start a fresh one, but check your cloud folder first, and re-upload from your local copies if the files are no longer there. And the 5th one is a question rather than a failure. What if you want a cloud file on a case that already exists, rather than a new one? There's no import action for that. The safe path is to download the file from My Cloud, then re-upload it through the case's own file drop zone. This flow is the payoff for keeping a tidy cloud. The better your folders, the more case creation shrinks to just the clinical form. If your files aren't in the cloud yet, start with the file management lecture. If you're not sure the files even need a case, the sharing lecture covers the lighter handoff. And once a case exists, the studio lectures show you what review looks like in the browser, measuring, annotating, and walking a plan without a desktop install. As always, the written guide has every step, every dialogue, and every failure mode. Find it at cympha.com, under Docs, as Create a Case from your cloud folder. Subscribe if you want the whole series. We're covering every Cympha workflow, one lecture at a time. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.